Hey everyone, welcome back to We Are Chattin, your Penn State Brandywine podcast. We're your hosts, Ava Clements,
Natalie DeMario,
and today we are chatting with
Bobbi Caprice.
Bobbi. Bobbi's Director of Athletics here at Penn State Brandywine, a former four-year student athlete at our campus, and truly an overall integral part of our athletic program here at Brandywine.
Bobbi. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me on. This is so exciting, and I've watched your other podcasts. You two are doing so good. I love it.
Thank
So
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to jump into some questions. So I think just right off the bat, can you tell us about your journey from being a student athlete to then becoming the Director of Athletics here?
Yeah, so it's been a fun journey. So you guys know, as a student athlete here, I played on our women's basketball team. I also was a member of our volleyball team. I use the term member because I didn't get on the court very much, but I had a great experience. And when I was a student, I actually would help our athletic department give tours to prospective students. So as a student athlete, I was getting free lunch out of it. I was talking with people, bringing them up to campus, and it was just a really fun, kind of side job that I did with the department. And after doing that I started out with women's basketball, then the volleyball coach started asking me to do it. Before I knew it, by my senior year, I was helping bring in recruits to campus for all of our teams.
Wow.
So that's kind of how I got started, getting involved with the department. I also worked in the fitness center. So after graduation, I was getting my master's at Westchester in school counseling, which I never actually used that degree because I've been here the whole time. But when I was going to grad school, our athletic director at the time knew that I was, going to school and asked if I was interested in a part-time job recruiting. So he had coordinated with our admissions department to kind of put me in this part-time role that I could really help recruit for the campus. So I started doing that immediately after graduation. And then a few months later, a full-time role in the athletic department opened. So I was really fortunate to kind of be in the right place at the right time. They then expanded the role. I then was in charge of the fitness center, doing intramural sports, and just kind of helping out in all aspects of the department. So I started full-time December after I graduated.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I got my foot in the door within the department. About 2-3 years later, I was officially named the assistant athletic director. Again, had a little bit more responsibilities, but I was in this full recruitment role for our department. All of our head coaches are part-time, so I was kind of the full-time face on campus to assist all of our part-time coaches in recruiting. So that's kind of how it went. In 2016, I was the interim athletic director for quite some time. And then we had a new AD come in. She was with us for 2 years. And then I was the interim again for the second time. At that point, I felt like I really had a good understanding of the department. I've now been interim twice at that time, and just really felt like I was ready for the role and ready to go for it, having a really good understanding of all aspects of the department. So in 2018, job opened again, and it's been a blessing, to be the athletic director at my alma mater. If you told me when I was a student athlete that was going to be my journey, I would have told you no way.
Yeah.
I definitely envisioned myself in a high school setting, but I love it. Like I said, I'm extremely blessed to be in this role, and it's been a really, really fun journey.
That's great. It seems like from early on, you really, just from getting your foot in the door, and you had a lot of responsibilities early on in the athletics department as a student athlete. I think that probably really prepared you to take on this role. So that's great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How did your time as a student particularly prepare you for a leadership position?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was really involved as a student. I was actually vice president of our Student Government Association for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
I was the president of our Blue and White Society, which I'm not sure is as active today, but our Blue and White Society was kind of like the student version of the Alumni Association. So I was the president of that for 1 or 2 years. I was really involved with truly all aspects of campus, not just athletics. And it's prepared me so much, not just for this role, but truly in all aspects of life. But the one thing that really, resonates with me, I tell our student athletes all the time, is you never know who you're going to meet in whatever you're doing, So did I think when I was in SGA that, communicating with our chancellor at that time, or actually when I was a student, I was really involved with when they were opening up well, this was before they opened up the residence halls, but the campus was talking about opening the residence halls. And I was one of those students that was always picked for like focus groups, and provosts would come down to campus and I would be meeting with them. As a student, I really didn't have a strong understanding of that role and being a part of those conversations. Now, as a employee, of course, I realize how important those roles were. But again, I just go back to, at the time, I didn't think that everyone I was interacting with would potentially offer me a job in the future, right? But you never know. So it's always important to put yourself in a good light. Make sure that you are representing yourself well in every situation you're in. So I'm always telling our student athletes that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like it's, you meet a lot of people while you're a student here, and then you don't even realize how that might carry over into your professional life as well. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we have the biggest alumni network, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So got to take advantage of that, you know?
It's
Meet a
awesome.
lot of people, a lot of networking, and you'll be surprised.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I always say Penn Staters love Penn Staters, right?
Oh,
So no matter
yeah,
where
sure.
you meet Penn State people out in the street in your personal world, networking is so important.
Oh, yeah, it's a culture. It really is.
Definitely.
Yep.
So are there any specific coaches, mentors, or professors that had an impact on you during your time in the athletic program?
Yeah, I had a lot of really influential people here at Penn State Brandywine. So I told you I played women's basketball. Our women's basketball coach still here today, Larry Johnson. He was my coach years ago.
Really?
So it's fun for it to be full circle now. We joke about it often, but he was really influential in my time here. But our athletic director at the time, Jim Gassner, he was the one who hired me. I told you guys the story about he was really the one to put me in that role. He was truly the most influential person, I'd say, besides my parents, truly in my life. He really instilled a lot. From an athletic director standpoint, he was one person that really ingrained in me the business behind college athletics, right? So when you're a student athlete, you just think it's all like fun and games or going out there and playing. He was the one that really kind of gave me the understanding of, what athletics brings to a campus, brings to a university in terms of more of recruitment, and retention driver for the campus. That is why Division III athletics is so beneficial to a campus. It's why we have athletics, to bring students here, to keep them here. And he really reinforced data-driven perspective in me that has allowed me to be successful in this role. It's so important. But on the flip side, he was a great boss, and he always put people first. And that is something that I really take away from him. I always, just remember that our coaches work extremely hard, and whatever I can do to help support them that then translates then to our student athletes and to success in programs. So just making sure that people first is definitely a big takeaway that I learned from him.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of bounced off of that. We hear that you met someone here pretty notable in your life. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my husband and I met as students here.
Wow.
We met in the gym, although he'll tell you we met in the cafeteria. That's not true.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's definitely some, we can't nail down when exactly we met first, but
Okay.
from my perspective, in the gym. So he also worked in the athletic department as a student worker. He's been our public address announcer since he was a sophomore here.
Wow.
So he still is our public address announcer, as well as our head baseball coach. I'll get to that. But as students, so he was on the baseball team. I played basketball. He worked our basketball table. And that's kind of how I got to know him. Or actually, I think I met him during volleyball season prior to that, so October. Okay. But yeah, so it was really a great experience. So he was on student government with me.
Wow.
When I was the vice president. He was our treasurer, I believe. So we really got, working together as students. People are always saying to me, like, how do you work with your husband? And I'm like, I don't know. We're just kind of like used to it. We've always done that. My parents work together. My dad's a general contractor. My mom's always been his assistant. My sister and her husband, they work together.
Wow.
I just come from a family where spouses work together. Like, that is completely normal and whatnot. So when Vinny graduated, he was a year ahead of me. He started as an assistant baseball coach. He was the assistant for 4 years, and then he was named the head coach This was well before I was in the AD role. So yeah, so definitely a fun, interesting dynamic. Our family is truly centered around Penn State Brandywine, and we love that. Our kids are up here all the time. Them getting to be around student athletes and just being around the program is something that's really special to me. And like I said, we really kind of centered our lives around this place. Both of us are just extremely passionate about Penn State Brandywine, and yeah, we love it. It works for us.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be.
It
I'll
really
tell you
is.
that.
Yeah. And that's
It
really
is.
inspiring to hear too, because this campus is truly incredible. And being able to meet someone on campus and then continue that in your professional career is it's really inspiring.
Yeah, it's great.
Actually, on our wedding day, we took photos here.
No
So,
way.
yeah, so we have
Oh
pictures
my
by
gosh.
the Lion, and our campus is so beautiful. I mean, why do
gorgeous.
more
It
people
is.
not take advantage
Oh my
of
gosh.
our greeneries? Shout out to Charles, who does our landscaping. He does such a great job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we took advantage of it. So I love in our living room in our house, I have a big photo of us by the lion statue.
That's
So
awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
really great.
Yep.
So under your leadership, Brandywine has officially started competing at the NCAA Division III. From your perspective, can you explain the process of that transition? Because I know that we weren't always in Division III.
Yeah, so this has truly been a dream come true. So when I was a student athlete, there was talks about us, going into the NCAA. And again, at the time, I had no idea what the process was and how detailed it was. So fast forward, getting into the AD role and beyond, just advocating for why we needed this transition. When we officially got the approval from University Parks to put our application in, like I said, Dr. Wells tells everyone, I literally cried when she told me, like, we can put our application in. Because like I said, it felt like it was, 15 years of, wanting this for the department, not just me, but truly our whole entire department. And just knowing how impactful it would be for the campus. It was just, like I said, it was like really an emotional moment. But
Sure, I'm sure.
the timeline has been crazy. So every January 15th is when schools can put in an application to then be accepted for the following fall. So we were told middle of October that we could get our application ready for January 15th. Our application was over 600 pages. Like, this is an intense application.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it was a whole process. We had a full campus committee that really joined, forces to put this application together. And shout out to everyone on campus who really contributed to the application. Like I said, this transition is not just an athletic department transition. This is really a transition for our entire campus, and everyone really joined forces. So so we put our application in. That was January 15th of 2024, and then by that September we started what they call the exploratory year. So in the exploratory year, they're really it's just giving us a good foundation, being ready to start for the next year. But at the end of the exploratory year, you have to put in a new application to start what they call the provisional phase, which is a 3-year process. So another 600 pages later, I will give a shout out to Bill Tyson and University Relations for editing the entire 600-page
Shout out to Bill.
document. Both
Bill's got
times.
it down.
So, he was great. And like I said, everyone contributed a lot. But like I said, it was a big document. So being able to edit that for us. And the NCAA gave us a lot of kudos on the actual preparation that we put into it. So, I think we represented us well. But, yeah, so then the provisional year started. That was last academic year, was our first year in the provisional phase. And then every year we have to do an annual report, and then we get accepted to the following year. So it's not a given process. I think everyone, around campus or wherever just assumes that this is an automatic, but that's not the case here. We have to continue to prove ourselves each year and get the blessing each summer to start the next year. So there's benchmarks we have to hit throughout the process. The most important is that we complete all of our sports sponsorship, which we're doing well, and everything's going good. So we are completing our second, which is kind of our third year of a 4-year process. We'll be done that at the end of this year, and then next year will be our final provisional year. And we're excited to be full members of the NCAA in 2027.
Yeah, that's
Congratulations.
awesome. Absolutely, yeah. And it's almost like another full circle moment, dreaming of that when you were an athlete here and then being able to be such a huge part of it becoming the reality for all these student athletes. I mean, that's really exciting.
Yeah, you're spot on, for sure.
For sure. So what would you say are the added resources or like opportunities that come from being part of a D3 program?
Definitely. No, great question. I mean, like I said, for so many years we were advocating why we needed to go into the NCAA, and to see it all come to fruition has been a blessing. So some of those main things I'm talking about is one, really the main reason from a campus perspective why it's beneficial to be in the NCAA is increased visibility for our campus. So since we've announced that we've been in the NCAA, we've drastically increased our out-of-state recruiting. So we now, just under 50% of our student athletes are out of state. Wow. Whereas before we started this process, we were about like 23% of our student athletes were out of state. Now we're at like 46.
That's great.
So
great growth.
That in itself, I think, is really impactful. But then obviously, everyone knows what the NCAA is, right? So, there's no more explaining who we are, what we are. We're NCAA Division III schools. There's no questions beyond that, and it's just been really, special from a visibility standpoint. I'll also add that we've drastically increased our broadcast viewership. So we live stream all of our home games. Our viewership has increased significantly over these last 2 years. So, just a few examples there. But from a department perspective, one of the main things we were saying is that going into the NCAA, and we compete in the United East Conference, it has significantly decreased our travel time for our student athletes. So we're seeing less missed class time for student athletes, which our students like, our faculty like, and we knew that would be extremely impactful for our transition. But there's also been some other resources, like the NCAA provides so much resources to their schools, and being able to really benefit from all those resources has been amazing. For example, they have a coaches portal where our coaches could go into this portal and access different trainings and, like I said, resources, watch some videos. There's so many just like tools that we now have access to that is extremely beneficial. And obviously, a little change in pace in our competition has been really nice. Our coaches and our student athletes are thrilled with that. And then the last thing is really just access to resources and grants specifically. So last year we were able to take advantage of $7,000 worth of grant funding that we were able to get from the NCAA. Like specifically last year, they put out a $2,000 health and safety grant, which then we used to bring in. We had 2 guest speakers come to our orientation this summer. One talked on mental health for student athletes. The other one talked about nutrition. So that's what we used our funding for here, and it was so beneficial to our student athletes to have those resources. So again, just things like that we are taking advantage of everything that the NCAA
absolutely
is offering us.
Yeah, and I mean, while it's amazing to have that for out-of-state students, I mean, to have that in your backyard for like local Delaware County or Chester County, Montgomery County, like to have that right here is amazing.
It really is. You can't beat it.
I always say that Penn State Brandywine provides the best of both worlds, right? Because there's so many advantages to being a part of a Big Ten university, large school like Penn State. But not everyone wants to be in a setting of 700 students, right? So Penn State Brandywine provides that small, intimate feel, that D3 playing experience, but that small college environment with the resources of a Big Ten institution. You truly can't beat it. I tell people all the time, you can't find anything else like this.
Nope.
No.
And
So
I
can't.
think our student athletes really enjoy their experience once they get here.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
sure.
no doubt about that. So talking about lots of highs of the college athletes, but what are some challenges that come with leading a college athletics program?
Yeah, so I think every job has its challenges for sure. Nothing's perfect, but for me, I think one of the challenges is always supporting our coaches. Like when our coaches and our student athletes, their mindset is their individual program. My mindset is always what's best for the full department. And sometimes that's just a different perspective than other people see it. So, again, just kind of navigating, supervising a large group of people that, are focused on their individual program when I'm trying to stay focused on, the whole department. So, sometimes challenges can kind of come with that, but nothing that isn't,
Nothing that you can't handle, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. So what would be the most rewarding part as, being director of athletics at your alma mater?
Yeah, I think we already touched on it, but really just having it all come for a full circle. So being a student athlete and, dreaming about, us being D3, and at the time thinking, oh, well, whenever that happens, I probably won't even be involved with it, And here I am, going to the NCAA convention each year, right? Leading Penn State Brandywine. So it's just been amazing to be a part of the growth. When I was a student athlete here, there was actually only 2 female sports.
Wow.
So,
Really?
Yeah, so we only had women's basketball and volleyball. And then when I was a student was when we were really adding programs. And, I was, did I tell you guys this? I can't remember. I was on our first ever cross-country team. I did run, so I guess that's a little bit better than me being on the volleyball bench. But, so we started our program when I was a student, and they needed some runners, and I jumped in. Like I said, I was always down for anything we needed on campus. So, so I ran cross-country in our first 2 years of the program. So we added that, and then we added softball the year after I graduated. And I played softball growing up. If we had a team when I was a student here, I definitely would have been involved. But I actually was one of the first assistant coaches in the program, and being able to see our softball program literally from the start to last year, they were our first team to win a United East Conference championship. That was so special to really see the growth of the program. But I also was around when we added women's soccer. So
Wow.
I've seen a lot of our growth on the female side, which is really special too.
Oh, for sure.
Been a part of that. So I guess just overall seeing the growth, seeing our journey into the NCAA, that has by far been the most special
That's amazing.
part of it.
Yeah, I mean, just like looking back, I mean, going from where you were and where we are now, I mean, that's just talk about growth and change.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Great
It's just-
story.
yeah, and
Really is.
sets you up for the future too.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep. Is there any advice that you would offer to students who want to break out into a career in sports?
Yeah, we touched on it earlier, networking. Like, networking is so incredibly important. I mean, being a Penn Stater, you already have a leg up, right? There's so many Penn Staters out there that want to help you. But in the sports industry specifically, it's very much who you know and how you get in the door. So my advice to people is always network as much as possible. There's a lot of, even like, actually I just got an email the other day from the Eagles. They're hosting a sports administration night for college students where they can go and network, things like that. There's resources and events all over, the Philadelphia area that students can really tap into. However you can, network in the field is really so important. And on the other side of that, we touched on this already, but you never know who you're going to meet. Right, and you never know who in your life is going to be the one to hand you that next job. So always making sure you're putting yourself in a good light. I tell our student athletes, I don't care whether you're walking down the hallway in the Commons building or you're in the cafeteria. Always make sure if your future boss walks past you that you're ready to portray yourself in good light. So that's my best advice. For our
I mean,
students.
always being ready and put a smile on your face, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's about who you know.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, if you're up for it, we have a couple rapid fire questions for
All
you.
right. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, for one, what would be your standout memory as being a student athlete?
I got to go sophomore year. We won a conference championship, women's basketball, in the Bryce Jordan Center up at University Park.
Wow.
It was unbelievable. We won on like a buzzer beater. It was great.
Wow,
That's
awesome.
That
That's
sounds
awesome.
electric.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All right, question number 2. Favorite professional sports event to attend?
Ooh, tough one because I like a lot, but I got to go Phillies. I'm definitely
With you on
a
that.
good like Friday night in July hitting a Phillies game before I go to the
Absolutely.
shore for the weekend.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
But I will say I'm way more of a college fan than professional sports. I'd rather be at a March Madness basketball game or a Penn State football game over any profestional sport.
Interesting.
See,
Interesting.
I stand with you on that.
Well, you're director of athletics at Penn State,
Yeah,
so
of course.
let's be
Just
real.
always,
Yeah, that's the only right answer. All right, favorite athlete, professional athlete, could be college athlete.
Yeah, so I have to go a mix. Can I give you a mix between? Got to be Michael Jordan.
Okay.
I mean, literally
Okay.
the greatest of all time. I just fully respect so much, what he did. But in my generation, I had to go Kobe, especially
absolutely.
being, local Delaware County, grew up, watching Kobe. And I respect so much the hard work that he's done. And I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but I got to give you Tom Brady, too. Talk about the greatest of all time, guys.
I mean,
I know, listen, at least
That's right.
the Eagles beat them when we needed to, but everyone has to respect Tom Brady.
That is true.
He's a good player.
The
Yeah.
dedication
Yeah.
that he put from being a 6th-round draft pick to being the greatest quarterback of all time, I respect it so much. So,
Yeah, you have to.
yeah,
You
so I
really
got to go
have
all
to.
3 of them. I couldn't pick one.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, we'll take it.
Yeah.
And what is the most underrated sport?
Ooh, I got to go volleyball.
Okay.
Volleyball it is. Have you
Okay.
guys ever watched a Division I volleyball
I
game?
have,
Like
actually.
Penn State up in Rec Hall. It's unbelievable.
It's incredible.
And hey, that Penn State Brandywine team is not too bad themselves. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've had some killer games over in there. A volleyball game going into the 5th set. When it's, tied up 14-14, there's nothing crazier than it. So I do think volleyball is definitely an underrated sport for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Lastly, this is when we ask all of our guests.
All right, let's hear it.
If you were stranded on a desert island, what celebrity would you call for help?
Ooh, that's a tough one, guys. I'm not really a big pop culture person, so
Okay.
It's okay.
I can't sit here and give you some.
Could be an
really
athlete.
good- I know my first mind goes to like someone from Survivor, but I've never watched Survivor, so I can't even tell you, who from Survivor I'd pick. But I guess I'm gonna go back to it. You're gonna be mad, but I gotta go to Tom Brady. Like, he's a winner.
Yeah.
That's true.
He figures out how to be successful in everything he does, in my opinion. And I think he'd get us off that desert island.
I think you're right.
And
yeah.
he has the resources. He could just call.
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
absolutely.
For sure,
Yes.
for sure.
But, so I'm gonna go Tom Brady.
Okay. All right. It's a valid answer.
I can respect that answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Separating the player from the team,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
hold space for that.
exactly. Awesome.
But I appreciate your time, and this is exciting. I wish you guys the best of luck with all your podcasts. Yeah, we certainly have some great people in the athletic department,
Yeah.
from alumni, student athletes, coaches that could definitely jump on and give a great perspective of their time as a Penn State Brandywine student.
For sure. We really enjoyed hearing your story today, Bobbi. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so
you.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in. We are done chatting for today. This podcast was recorded in the Penn State Brandywine Makerspace Media Production Studio. We Are Chattin was made possible by Penn State Brandywine Strategic Communications and the Brandywine Launchbox. Remember to like this podcast and stream it on wherever you get your podcasts.